Shalom Yasharallah. Before we get started, we're going to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that teach and rule well. Peace and salutations to the hopeful elect. And we're back with another video, another lesson. And the title is going to be short, but to the point. It says, prepare to be hated. All right? And the times that we're coming into, which we're in right now, but shortly, in the coming months, years, things are going to get tougher, if you want to say, from here on out. Concerning the believers, the men of the Lord. All right, those of us who are in this truth, who are called. All right, things are going to get tough for us. Okay, and because we're going to be hated. We're already hated now. People don't like the Hebrew Israelites. They hate our ideology, which has come from the Bible, because it's true. The words we speak are not our own words. These are Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai's our words. All right, but we are sent to give the message, and the message is for the Israelites. All right, now we preach, let all nations hear, because we're scattered among the nations, but the message of salvation and repentance is for the nation of Israel only, But even our own people, they're going to hate the message because they don't understand. They're blinded by Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, man. All right, the Lord has blinded their minds to not understand, and only a certain, amount of people, which are the elect, the Lord has chosen. The Lord has chosen before the world, was even, before the world was even made. All right, they're going to understand and they're going to believe. And that's what we're here for. Now, we don't know if we're of that number, but, hey, we hope and pray, We hope and pray. We have in the back of my, hey, we got a shot. We've been called as truth. The Lord has opened, if the true brothers and sisters, of course, the Lord has opened his secrets to you. Everything about not everything, but, enough to, to understand the Bible. All right. You understand the breakdowns, the prophecies, the things that happened in the past to our forefathers while we're in this condition. We call on the name of the Lord. So we have a chance, man. But it's not guaranteed that we're going to be saved. That we're because it says many are called, but few are chosen. But we just hope and pray that we're of that number. Okay, but it is a time that is coming that we will be hated on a severe level. All right, and you gotta prepare yourself for that. You gotta prepare yourself for your family gonna come up against you. They may give you up. Brothers, sisters, father, mother, your wife, your children. All right, cousins. If you still speak to, your cousins, but your cousins, your uncles, your aunts, your so-called friends you got in the world. All right, they're gonna turn on you, man. They're gonna give you up. Okay, because of His word. All right, because of what you stand for and what you preach. So I'm gonna first start with this. Let's start with Matthew. Matter of fact, let's get 1 John 3:13. All right, because this is what it tells us. It says, it's something short to the point. It says, marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you. All right, it says, marvel not. If the world hates us, this is written. This is supposed to happen. All right, it happened to Yahweh Shai and the apostles. It happened to Paul. It happened to Stephen. All right, it happened to the men of the Lord in the past. Ezekiel, Jeremiah, okay, Daniel. It happened to our forefathers. They were hated. So it's going to be the same way today because, if you understand reincarnation, those men are back today. Some of those men we're among, Those men are among us, could be among us today. Some are in the spirit world already. Okay, King David, he was hated by his own. King Saul wanted to kill King David. All right, his own son, what's his name? Absalom. He wanted to kill his own father. All right. So this is written, man. This has been written before, we were even called into this thing. Before the world was even made. It was written that we were going to be hated for this truth. All right. So it says, marvel not, my brethren, if the world hates you. Let's get the word marvel or marvel. marvel, and it reads the Hebrew got Hebrew on the mind. The Greek word is
Strong's
thaumazo.
G 2296, thaumazo. Thaumazo.
Thaumazo, all right? It says to wonder at, marvel, to be wondered at, to be ahead in admiration. Okay, strong definition to wonder. By implication, to admire, having admiration, marvel, wonder. Okay, so don't don't marvel not, man. Don't let it get to you. Because it's written. All right, let's get Matthew. Now let's get Matthew 10. I want to get that out of the way. And 22. I'm gonna start at 21. It reads, "And the brother shall deliver up the brother to death, and the father the child, and the children shall rise up against their parents, and cause them to be put to death. And ye shall be hated of all men for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end shall be saved." And so people your family's gonna give you up. All right, even those who are called, so-called in the truth, right? You got spies, you got agents. They're gonna give you up. There are men who are, which is in all camps, even Great Millstone. You have spies, agents, even in among us in Great Millstone. But they're in all camps. They're gonna give you up. Even other camps are gonna give us up. All right, they're gonna give each other up, man. But the main one, okay, is Great Millstone, because we teach the 100% truth here. We tell you what it is, what it isn't. All right, we keep it 100% raw. We don't sugarcoat nothing. People don't like that. Okay, but stand on topic. People are gonna hate. Your family's gonna hate. Your wife, your kids, they're gonna hate. They're gonna look at you differently. All right, let's get the NLT. It says, verse 21. It says, "A brother will betray his brother to death. A father will betray his own child, and children will rebel against their parents and cause them to be killed." Yeah, your children are gonna rebel against you. Cause you to be killed, give you up to the authorities, give you up to Esau. If you don't take that, because there's gonna come a time where, they're gonna make that C-hip mandatory. And your wife gonna be in your ear, your kids gonna be crying. There's gonna come a point where she just may, if she don't believe, or she may be a believer for the time being, but she may go and say, I didn't sign up for this. We gotta eat. The kid. Look, think about the kids. All right, think about the children. We gotta eat, babe. That's what they're gonna say. Then you're gonna be put in a position. That's gonna be your test. For a lot of brothers, it's gonna be a test for some brothers. Other brothers are gonna have a different one. We gotta eat, babe. We gotta feed the kids. We gotta feed the children. So you want, that's a test right there. You're either gonna, listen to your woman, or you're gonna have faith and follow and continue to have and trust in Yahweh Bashim Yahushua to feed you, to get you through. It says, verse 22, "And all nations will hate you, because you are my followers. But everyone who endures to the end will be saved." We want to endure. We pray to the Lord to keep that, to help you endure until the end. When Yahweh Shah returns, because we want to get out of here, man. This is not a place where we want to stay and grow up, grow old, and have children in the family, man. This isn't the place where you want to be at. You're subject to payments. All right, you gotta go to work. You gotta wake up at 6 a.m. You barely get time to spend time with your family. This isn't a place where you want to be under Esau's rulership. The rulership we want is that we want the new heavens and the new earth to come, whereas under the rulership of us, the Israelites, we don't have to worry about that. You can spend time with your family. You can spend time with your kids, your woman, or women, because in the kingdom we have multiple wives. And they hate that. But okay, so I read it again. "Ye shall be hated of all men." You're gonna be hated of everybody for my name's sake, but he that endureth to the end, the same shall be saved. But when they persecute you in this city, flee ye into another. For verily I say unto you, ye shall not have gone over the cities of Israel till the Son of Man become. So persecution is going to come down. We're going to be persecuted. All right, afflicted. Let's get, we can get this. John 16. John chapter 16 and verse 32. I'll start at 31. It says, Yahushua answered them. I'll start at 30. It says, now are we sure that thou knowest all things, and needest not that any man should ask thee? By this we believe that thou camest forth from the Most High. Yahushua answered them, do ye now believe? Behold, the hour cometh, yea, is now come, that ye shall be scattered, every man to his own, and shall leave me alone. And yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. And he was saying that because he was getting ready to be, given up. He was about to be betrayed by one of his own disciples. All right, Judas Iscariot. Okay, it says, these things have I spoken unto you, that in me ye might have peace. In the world ye shall have tribulation, but be of good cheer, I have overcome the world. So look, Yahushua even told his disciples back then, hey, you're going to go through what I'm going through. You're going to be hated. All right? The same way today. Okay? Because we're followers of Yahushua. We're followers of the Son of the Most High. Okay? These things have I spoken unto you, that in me you might have peace. In the world, right, you shall have tribulation. What does tribulation mean? Let's get it. Let's see what it says. Thalipsis, it says oppressing, pressing together, pressure. Metaphor, oppression, affliction, tribulation, distress, straits. All right, the strong definition says literally or figuratively afflicted, anguish, burden, persecution. Okay, tribulation, trouble. So you're going to have trouble. You're going to have trouble, man. All right, trouble is coming, And it's only a matter of time when Esau finally come down with that great wrath, man. And he starts to come to your job, grab certain brothers up, escort you out, come to your home or your woman's house, wherever, man. Because they watching us. They listening to us. They watching us. They know who we are. Okay, so it's only a matter of time until they come. I was watching the Eliyahu Wamba earlier. He said, he feels he's being watched. All right, he's probably being followed. It may get to that point. When they're gonna start following brothers. You may not know it. Well, through the Spirit, you won't know. But the Lord is gonna protect us, man. We got that. I got that faith that the Lord gonna protect me. I believe through the Spirit, Yahweh Shem Yahshua, I'm gonna be okay. If it's my lot to be, because nobody really I don't want to be beheaded. I don't want to be tortured. But if that's my lot, man, hey, it is what it is. If I gotta go through that, and that's what the Lord chose for me, I just hope and pray that He keeps the Spirit on me to not, bow the knee to the system, man. Okay, but hey, it may come to that point where you're gonna be followed. They may try to use your kids or your wife to get you to, to turn over, but we can't let that get to us, man. That's what they, because Esau gonna play on your flesh. Because they're fleshly, they're not spiritual. These are carnal people, so they're gonna use carnal things to try to get to you, So that's why the Spirit, has been on the, the elders, the apostles, to say that, examine yourselves now, whatever, is troubling you in your spirit, fast, pray, okay, because it's about to get crazy out here, man. It's about to get serious, and this goes for myself, man. It's things I've been dealing with, but neighbors, but we got spiritual tools to help us. Okay, but I'm going to read this again. I don't want to keep rambling. John 16:33. These things have I spoken unto you, that in me you may have peace. In the world ye shall have trouble, but be of good cheer. I have overcome the world. Your Lord Yahushua overcame. We have that example we can read in the scriptures. Let's see what the NLT says. It says, I'll start at 32. But the time is coming, indeed, it's here now, when you will be scattered, each one going his own way, leaving me alone. Yet I am not alone, because the Father is with me. I have told you all this so that you may have peace in me. Here on earth, you will have many trials and sorrows, but take that heart, okay? Because I have overcome the world. So we're going to have trials and sorrows, all right? We're going to go through things, okay? But the Lord, Yahweh Bashim Yahshua, will be with us in the spirit, all right? Let's get 2 Timothy 3:12, okay? And a lot of camps don't speak about this. They don't talk about, going through tribulation. They don't talk about being beheaded. They don't talk about being put in a prison. All right, what are they talking about? Traveling the world, all right, trying to, going to different countries, jet setting, getting on boats, trying to just doing super things that's unnecessary, man. All right, they don't speak about what we speak about. Getting you prepared for the times that's coming, right? 2 Timothy 3, I'm going to start at verse 10. But thou hast fully known my doctrine, manner of life, purpose, faith, long-suffering, charity, patience, persecutions, afflictions, which came unto me at Antioch, at Iconium, at Lystra. What persecutions I endured, but out of them all the Lord delivered me. You see? So Paul was heavily persecuted because he had a great portion of the ministry. Most of the New Testament is Paul going to different churches, speaking to our people. It says, verse 12, yeah, and all that will live godly in Hamashiach Yahawashi shall suffer persecution. So the persecution is gonna come, the troubles are gonna come, but we gotta prepare. We gotta prepare through the Spirit. All right, prepare ourselves through the Spirit, and prepare ourselves mentally, man. It's not like, because we know it's coming. It's not like it's gonna catch us off guard, like the other people in the world or those in the truth. That's the NLT this thing. Excuse me. Verse 10, it says, but you, Timothy, certainly know what I teach and how I live, and what my purpose in life is. You know my faith, my patience, my love, my endurance. What the hell? Got a big ass truck coming through here. It says, you know how much persecution and suffering I have endured. You know all about how I was persecuted in Antioch, Iconium, and Lystra. But the Lord rescued me from all of it. Yes, and everyone who wants to live a godly life in Hamashiach Yahawashi will suffer persecution. And why is that? Because Yahawashi went through persecution. He went through the sufferings. He went through afflictions. All right, he was put up on the cross. All right, and the brothers like to say, our Garden of Gethsemane moment is coming, where it's gonna be you, and whatever it's just gonna be you. The brothers ain't gonna be around to help you. You can't call nobody. All right, it's just gonna be you, man. It's gonna be us. All right, in that moment, nobody else. Okay, so that's another thing we gotta think about. We gotta prepare ourselves for that. So these things you gotta put in the back of we gotta put in the back of our minds and prepare for, man. And this goes for myself as well. Get this last one, Acts 14:22. So it says, confirming the souls of the disciples and exhorting them to continue in the faith, and that we must through much tribulation enter into the kingdom of God. If you want to get into the kingdom of, because it's not going to be easy. This is going to be a hard road. It's a straight gate. All right. Matter of fact, let's get that. Matthew 7 and 13 says, enter ye in at the straight gate, for wide is the gate and broad is the way that leadeth to destruction, and many there be which go in thereat. Right. People don't want to go through suffering. People don't want to go through hardship, affliction, tribulation. So what? They rather take the easy way, right? But the way to the kingdom of the Most High, the kingdom of heaven, is not going to be easy. It's going to be hard. All right, and this is a hard walk. This ain't going to be easy, man. Verse 14, it says, because straight is the gate and narrow is the way which leadeth unto life, and few there be that find it. So only a few's going to find the straight gate. And we pray and hope, the Lord keeps us on a path of righteousness, and and to keep us on the path of the straight gate. Because you want to be on you don't want to be on the path of the broad. That's gonna lead to destruction. You're gonna be left behind. But the path to the straight gate is it's like the elder Yahshua says, it's right, or it's tight, but it's right. It may not be the best, but it's the outcome is gonna be way better than a gate of the broad. So I just want to bring it out through the spirit. Are prepared to be hated, man. We gotta prepare ourselves to be hated by our loved ones. Your women, your wife, your children. All right, your friends. Okay, be prepared for these type of things to come. Be prepared for your face to be, posted up on a damn billboard by Esau, telling you saying you an enemy of the state or some shit. So prepare to be hated, man. And this goes for myself. We must prepare to be hated. So Lord willing, this was edifying for you brothers and you sisters out there. You got something out of it. We gonna give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rachak Wadash, and double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone that teach and rule well. Peace and citation to the hopeful elect. Those of you who's edified. Till next video, I'm gonna say.